Okay, there's nothing more annoying when you're watching a video and person's out of focus.
Yeah.
Drives me crazy. Why do people screw this up?
I mean, that's a complicated question. I don't know, because they're not good at it. I mean, focus is one of those things that it's super important, but also there can be artistic reasons why you want something in focus versus out of focus. And then there's also just the difficulty of, as someone moves forward or backward, that focus shifts, and so you have to follow them. So, I mean, just some basic essentials is that, on the lens, usually the outermost ring is your focus ring, and that is in the same way that, like, if I put my hand in front of my face and I focus on it, you guys are blurry, and as I move that, like, it's pretty amazing how much and how sophisticated our eyes are and our brain are. So we're just trying to catch up with what the human body already does. So maybe let's just throw this up here and we can see kind of what we can play with. But so you can either reach up and grab the lens and change your focus, right? Or if your lens has a servo, I can turn that on. And now if I have a tripod set up, I can control that back here. So I don't have to reach around. When you're dealing with focus, it's really helpful on your monitor or your viewfinder. You can turn on some assistant tools like peaking or focus and color. It's just kind of like makes your monitor look black and white, but it'll put red lines around the edges.
Yep.
And so okay, if there's a red line, that means that thing is in focus. So a lot of different ways to do that. Those tools are super helpful.
Because sometimes it's hard to see if you're watching a 3-inch monitor. Right. It can be very hard to tell if it's in focus or not.
Yeah, or if it's dark in the room, it's really hard to focus. If there's a lot of backlight shining at you, all those things make it kind of difficult. So if I look at, let me turn my zoom on. One thing about broadcast lenses or even cinematic video lenses is that they're parfocal. It means that I'm going to get real tight here, Jeff. I can zoom in and focus. And now I can zoom out and it'll stay in focus. So it's a really great, quick way to find your focus for your speaker.
Because it's easier to see when you're up close if you've got that detail right.
Yep. And then once you find your focus, it's always really helpful, no matter what your setup is to learn your gear and figure out which way do I need to spin it to make the focus go away versus forward. That way, if my speaker moves suddenly, I already know, oh, he's coming towards me, so I need to spin a certain way. So just during rehearsal, make sure you understand which way you need to go for that person to stay in focus.
So if you were capturing me talking right now,
yep.
If I, for emphasis, wanted to come closer to the camera to make a point,
yep.
You've got automatically muscle memory to know I've got to go counterclockwise or clockwise to make that happen.
And how you set this up is, you can set it up so that it's customized for you. So right now, if I spin it towards me, that means the focus comes towards me. It's helpful. So if you walk closer to me, I spin this knob to me. If you walk away, I spin it away.
So you can just sort of auto-compensate just by knowing
yep.
how your camera's set up.
Yep.
That's cool.
There's also a lot of lenses have markings on the side that tell you, like right now, I'm in focus at 4.5 feet away. So if you know, like how far, a lot of times in film, when you're doing complicated moves, since someone's only job on set is to just pull focus. So there's an operator running the camera and there's someone else remotely or next to the camera who's pulling focus. And they know at spot A, they're 5 feet away, and then they go to 2 feet away to 20 feet away, and they map all that out.
So you used a term called pull focus.
Yep.
I've heard other terms too, though, like rack focus or follow focus or something like that. Like when would you want, what is rack focus, and when
Sure.
would you want to be out of focus?
Yep. So rack focus can be, just an example here, right now I'm focused on you, Jeff. Let's say there was something in your background, like in the seats behind you that I wanted to focus on. Well, I would rack my focus towards those seats. So you see you became out of focus, but something behind you is in focus. So as a viewer now, my eye is drawn to the thing that is now in focus behind you. So it's another storytelling tool of something that you want to do. In a worship setting, this could be like you want to move from the worship leader up close to the piano that's behind them. And you would, as you make that camera move, you would rack that focus towards that new subject.
It's almost a way to get a different camera shot without actually moving the camera very much. So you can almost have another shot just based on what the lens is focusing on.
Right, exactly. And then sometimes we'll want to pull the focus towards me, and that makes things get super blurry. You're really close to the lens right now, so it doesn't work great. But I can just kind of use that as a way to soften the transition to the next shot. Or you can go out of focus, and it kind of symbolizes like this scene is ended. And so now we want to move on to the next thing.